Peter Barlis here, cardiologist. Now, one of the most important topics when we look at heart health is one known as heart attack. And a heart attack essentially means that the muscle of our heart is starved of oxygen, starved of blood, and that typically occurs as a result of a blockage or clot building up in one of the arteries that supplies our heart muscle. And again, in this situation, we say that time is of the essence, and really we cannot ignore these important symptoms, because we know that the longer that there is a delay in seeking medical attention, the longer the heart muscle is starved of oxygen because of the blockage, and then the more likely muscle is to permanently become damaged and develop scar tissue. So heart attacks are no doubt one of the most fearful complications that we deal with, predominantly managed obviously with medications, initially getting some medications in which help start the process of breaking down the clot, but important to then go in to hospital and have a procedure called an angioplasty and a stent procedure, whereby the blockage is identified and quickly opened up to restore blood flow. And we know in doing that, we achieve very good outcomes for our patients. And it is essentially a life-saving procedure. So heart attacks can present with many different symptoms, and I think it's important again to realize we do not want to be ignoring these symptoms. We want to seek attention as quickly as possible, even if it's a false alarm, even if it's nothing to do with the heart. We do not want to be ignoring these symptoms. And I had a very long-term patient of mine who had a discussion with me the other day and asked me about, well, heart attacks, and he's in the fitness industry, and there have been several instances recently that he mentioned to me of fitness personalities sustaining heart problems and heart attacks. And in particular, he forwarded to me a link or a video of an actor, entertainer, bodybuilder in the USA called Chuck Kilkendall. And Chuck has a YouTube channel called Kylie Muscle, so he's known as Kylie Muscle, but essentially a bodybuilder, actor, entertainer. And Kylie has put a few videos recently on YouTube where he describes his experience of having a heart attack. And I think it's important to always hear about the personal experience, because again, heart attacks can be quite frightening. And again, I think it's important to have a very good network of healthcare professionals around you to support you through this. And the great thing is that the majority of cases, life returns back to normal, obviously with some slight modifications that may need to be performed in lifestyle and attending to cardiac risk factors and improving control of things like diabetes and blood pressure. And very important to take certain medications that we typically use that are no doubt have been very, very effective at reducing the chances of having a further heart attack. But what I wanted to do is just to go through the videos by Kylie Muscle and just to give you my insights, but also for us to actually listen to the patient experience and what's actually involved and the process over the last week or so for Kylie with respect to the heart and possible complications that can develop after having a heart attack. So let's get on with it and go through the initial video from a few days ago.
Yo, what's up with it, guys? Your boy, man, had a heart attack. For years, man, I had a problem with edema in my feet and ankles. And, you know, I was younger, I didn't think much of it or whatever. But, you know, people used to tell me that's a sign of heart failure or whatever. You know, of course, being a tough ass, you ignore people saying that, like, man, I ain't got no heart problems or nothing like that.
So of course here, Kylie's in a recovery phase now, having what appears to be a procedure to treat the blockage in the heart. He does mention that he had a history of edema. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that there is always a heart issue. I mean, edema can occur from many other reasons that can be localized to the vascular supply, the legs, the veins, the capillaries in the legs, which can cause edema. Other issues involving the liver, for example, the kidneys can also cause edema. But of course, edema can be associated with heart conditions when the heart is not pumping as strong and with enough force. Then sometimes the blood and the fluid can collect and can pull down into the legs and into the ankles and feet, and no doubt cause some edema there.
And chilled out and went to bed, and I got suddenly woke up by chest pains, and it felt like heartburn. I had heartburn before in my life, so it felt like heartburn.
So here he describes the symptoms that he felt woke him up, and he describes this chest pain. And sometimes we may feel that it is similar to heartburn and indigestion, whereby we get this sort of acid reflux up the top part of our chest. Sometimes in acid reflux conditions, we may even get a funny taste of acid in our mouth. But that's why heartburn is called heartburn, and using the word heart, because it can actually mimic conditions involving the heart. So we'll just have a listen to his description here.
So I went in and rushed in the kitchen and got some whatever I could for heartburn, so it wouldn't subside, man, for like 2 hours. And my girl, you know, she was trying to figure out what was going on as well. And after like 2 hours, she was like, I got to take you to the hospital. And
So again here, I mean, the duration, and as I mentioned earlier, time is of the essence. When there's ever any concern, particularly with pain that occurs rather suddenly and pain that is rather intense, and that pain may be in the center of the chest, it may radiate or go up into the neck, into the jaw, it may go down the arm, it may go through to the back, and there might be associated symptoms of feeling short of breath, just generally feeling unwell with nausea, like you want to vomit. But something has obviously gone on here with Kylie, and he's experienced quite an intense amount of pain.
they ran a test, and I mean, they was swift, man. We got to get you into surgery. Your main artery or something is clogged up.
The left artery that supplies blood to your left side of the heart has been clogged 100%.
It was 100%?
Yes.
So yeah. So it was clogged.
There, so what he did have was a stent placed into one of the major arteries of the heart. And the main artery is normally the one that supplies the left side of the heart. So there are three main arteries. The one artery breaks off into two branches. So there's one main left artery that divides into two branches, and then the one on the right side supplies the bottom part of the heart. So it looks like he's had a stent and a blockage, a 100% blockage of an artery supplying the front part of the heart, where essentially 2/3 of the blood is travelling. So obviously that is perhaps the most important artery there, and very important to seek healthcare advice when you're ever in doubt. And he's then gone on to have a follow-up video as well, which is very interesting because, and I'll review that as well. He a few days later is recovered well and is out of hospital, and shows the use of a device that he's wearing, or a vest called a life vest. So I might just show you that as well.
You gotta have fun to the fullest. I gotta hurry up and talk so I can put on my electrocution vest on right here. I'm gonna show you guys. So this right here vest, I have to hold.
So he calls it an electrocution vest. Well, look, it's not an electrocution vest. So you'll see what this vest is, and this vest is called a life vest. And the life vest essentially is a wearable device that we use for short periods of time that can actually defibrillate or actually provide an electrical charge from the skin, from the outside of the body, if it detects an abnormality in the heart rhythm. So we'll just go through and he'll show a good example of what it is and how to actually put it on.
Hopefully wear for a bus. It's called a life vest, and it can save my life. We got the vest here, so you got to put these plates up in here, and that's what electrocutes you. This goes around my waist, so it's gonna hook up to this. A shout out to Zoe for making this, man, to save people's lives. So what it do is, just say so happen I have a heart attack. God willing, don't let it happen again. But I'm up. And I'm aware. I can hit this button and cut it off so it don't go off. In the event I pass out, it acts as if it's the ambulance or something. It shock you back to life. And this thing heavy. I can get my little curl workout so I can get back.
So the life vest is certainly not for everybody. It can be used in people who have quite profound or significant reduction in the heart function, and there might be because of heart attacks, and obviously Kylie Muscle has had a heart attack. So when there is this initial damage, when blood has not been able to travel to the heart may be weaker, and certainly there are different levels of weakness that we grade to assess the severity of how strong or how weak the heart is. And in this situation, when it's deemed by your healthcare team that there is a high risk of the heart going into strange rhythm disturbances, going into fast rhythms and causing problems and causing you to pass out, and no doubt a high risk event, well then this device in that situation can restore normal pulse. Now, it's not the first line. Obviously there are a series of medications as well that are critical in situations whereby the heart muscle might be weak after a heart attack, and often that's all that is required. So medication that'll help with time to improve the heart function. But sure, there are situations whereby in the future, if the heart muscle isn't recovering, well, there are other options, and things like defibrillators, and defibrillators that can be implanted, both deep inside the heart with a couple of leads, or sometimes even implanted superficially under the skin. And then this is one other example of a temporary device that can be used, which essentially relies on you wearing it continuously. Obviously not waterproof, so not in the shower, but it has a little module that has a cardiogram and can detect the rhythm of the heart, and that then can deliver a charge if necessary. So it's a wearable device, and interestingly, he just recently had another video now where he has felt his heart racing quite fast. He was out and about, and I'll show this briefly as well, and he felt that this life vest did shock the heart. So we'll just go through that video as well.
Heart rate and the defibrillator is just going off.
It's going off. Okay. Can you feel it?
Yeah, like the heart rate 25.
Okay. When did this start?
So here he's felt the heart racing quite fast, which occurred quite suddenly, and he's gone into the emergency department. And he also felt the life vest shock him as well.
When did this start?
About maybe an hour ago.
Any other
No.
He was released last Tuesday.
Okay. How many times has that gone off?
About 10.
Okay.
Yo, what's up with everybody? Back in the hospital, man. Thursday, November the 18th, 2021. Me and Miles was coming from a jewelry store downtown. And before we went, I had a shot of ginger at like Jamba Juice, some juice bar. So I was driving a Durango, whatever. It's loud and loud music. So usually when I'm driving, I notice my heart rate kind of go up the whole drive, and it was about a 40-minute drive. Whole drive there, my machine going off. Y'all know I gotta wear that defibrillator thing. Life vest. Whole time the thing going off, it's making me more paranoid. Heart rate was going fast. So I told Miles, we drove separate cars, which I kind of wish we hadn't. Like, my heart was just beating fast, man.
So here he's describing what we would refer to as tachycardia, where the heart is racing quite fast. In somebody who has had a recent heart attack, we always are concerned about these tachycardic episodes, and there is a particular rhythm disturbance called ventricular tachycardia, and that can be quite fast and can cause the heart some issues. So I think Kylie's obviously done the right thing. It looks like the device has shocked him, so the device itself has likely detected this arrhythmia that may have been getting quite worse, and obviously at high risk that if it didn't deliver a shock, then the heart could potentially stop, and obviously that is the major concern here. And he's come in, and obviously in hospital he'll have that assessed, and a review of medication and whether anything else needs to be changed. So that was a rather interesting compilation of videos, and I think it brings to the forefront the discussions about heart health, in particular heart attack. And now we will have a separate video on exactly what are heart attacks and the different types of heart attacks that we have, and how we manage that. But I thought it would be interesting just to look at the experience of a patient, the experience of somebody who's going through it, and showing it on YouTube and sharing his experience, to go through a few key factors that it is important to seek attention in this situation when you are concerned, when the pain is intense, unusual pain that you've not had before, pain that radiates up into the chest, into the back, down the arm. You feel short of breath, you feel nauseous, you feel like vomiting. Don't just dismiss it, as heartburn or indigestion, which, it may very well be. And of course, that'll be the best way we can reassure you and say it's only heartburn or indigestion. But this is not a time whereby we want to actually delay getting some help. And then once that decision is made that there is a heart attack happening, whereby there is a concern that one of the arteries is blocked to the heart, the important thing is to restore blood flow, open that artery up, and that's most often done by placing a stent device, together with giving medications which help break down the clot and dissolve the clot and stop it from happening again. And then there's a series of medications that you will normally be on which do many things. Obviously thinning the blood, improving blood flow through the arteries around the heart, lowering the cholesterol, reducing the risk of cholesterol building up inside other parts of the heart, inside the stent that you've actually had just placed. And then controlling things like blood pressure, but also medication that can be critical to help the strength of the heart, to help the recovery of the heart. And there have been several medications that we are routinely using in certain individuals who will benefit from having these medications on board to improve the strength of the heart and the recovery of the heart. And then, of course, depending on how the heart recovers, there are these other devices, and as Kylie had this life vest, which is a temporary device that can be used in the short period of time. But of course, if the heart muscle isn't recovering and there is permanent damage there are some great treatments available, including pacemakers and so forth, that may be required to further help improve your quality of life and the way you feel and overall in terms of what you're able to do. Now, again, most of the times we can get fantastic outcomes for our patients. Again, it's been great to be with you to share this patient experience on behalf of Kylie. Full links of his videos are in the description below. And I also look forward to having several other videos whereby we give you a little bit more of an insight as to what's actually going on with respect to the heart and the arteries when a heart attack is happening, and some of the treatment options available to us now. Until the next video, bye for now.